Hi, welcome back. We are going to be answering a question that was submitted to us by Linda. Linda and I met on Facebook, and she wanted to know, as prolific authors, podcasters, bloggers, and marketers, how do you manage your time and day? Well, thank you for the compliment. That was really nice, or at least I take it like a compliment. Um, you're right. Time management is always an issue. I mean, it's a real delicate balance. I often feel like I have more to do than time allows. And there's always so many new things that I'm being introduced to, options, opportunities, outlets that I haven't pursued yet. And if I was to allow myself, I would constantly feel like I'm behind, never measuring up, never good enough, always falling back. But that isn't true. That isn't the truth. Uh, you know, we have a lot of things going on in our lives, Dave and I, like many of you. But I'll give you an example of what I mean by this. I spend about 6 hours a month of managing the YouTube channel, recording videos, responding, and marketing it, promoting it. For the blogs, I probably spend that a week easy, managing the blogs, putting up content, dealing with queries, sending out interview questions, and all that kind of stuff, promoting it, all that. I probably spend a good 1 to 2 hours doing marketing every single day for our books, at least one of our books, if not more. And that includes some of the posts that are going on the blog, some of the posts that are going like on our social networking sites, things like that. So maintaining the presence in groups, all that kind of stuff. So at least that long. Already we're heading into, an 8-hour day. And this isn't even including the writing or the record keeping or, all the other stuff that goes on in the world of writing. So, there are sometimes really long days and often, 7 days a week. There are, weeks where we might take like a half day or a few hours kind of thing, but typically we're busy doing stuff. Um, Dave, he holds a day job, and that means he's out of the office at least 8 hours of the day. And so, running the office, dealing with members of the media, submitting the queries, running the blogs, managing the social networking sites, dealing with household things like garbage recycling, bills, menu planning, menu preparation, dealing with the dogs, house cleaning, laundry. A lot of that falls on my shoulders. While I've gotten really good at multitasking and timing things, I could have machines running while I'm doing this, or, I could be washing dishes while I'm listening to an educational webinar or whatever. But so I really try to multitask as much as I can. And that also means that I'm working long hours. It doesn't mean Dave isn't though, because when he comes home, he's, either teaching lessons or he's doing drum repairs or he's preparing for a new lesson or practicing for a gig. He isn't doing any one of those multiple things. He's doing some project for the house or the business. Absolutely. So his weekends and his evenings as well are just as full. So I guess you get really good at being a multitasker. And I think because we have so many different things going on, we learn to like really hyper schedule things. This is the day I'm going to do this. This is the time I'm going to do that. This week, these are my goals. This month, these are my goals. And so we really rely, or at least I do, rely on that annual plan that we then break down into monthly, and whatever we don't get done in that month, which is almost always there's a list left, gets pushed on to the next month, and we just keep plugging away at the same projects until they're done and at a maintenance level, and then we move on to the next thing. So it's busy. It's totally a balancing act, that's for sure. A really interesting question in regards to time management. I think the best thing to do is first, if you're working with somebody else or you're outsourcing your materials and you're collaborating in some way, you want to get really good and concise with your conversation, your communication. Really think about what you want to say it all at once, say it concisely, say it so they don't have to ask questions and try to figure out what you're trying to get at. Make it really clear, really concise. Maybe don't send it today, maybe to send it tomorrow, give it some thought. Did you not want to add something, tweak it, change it in some way, and then send it out? So you get really good at, hyper focusing on these things so that you're doing things once. You're not having to come back and do it again. Do it right the first time. Start how you mean to continue. Those are two parables, I guess you would call them in a way, that I just stand by, two things that I absolutely stand by. I'll also, do things to restrict access to myself. So I'll turn off my phone. I'm not going to be answering the door. I'm not going to be answering the phone calls because I'm concentrating on something else. If I'm taking time off for me, same thing. Office is done. I turn the computers off. They're not even on anymore. I turn my phone off, so they're not in anymore. My husband and I will remind each other that this time that we're taking off, we're not talking about the business, which is really hard to do when you co-own a business together. There's always something like as you're sitting there, like you're like, oh yeah, I meant to, and you have to like, shh, don't talk about it. At the very least, go and write it down if it's really, really bugging me. And then we can talk about it next time we have a meeting or next time it's appropriate for a conversation about the business. So we have to like sort of self-discipline ourselves that way too, because it's almost like forced time off sometimes, because it's hard to shut off that entrepreneur and marketing and creative thinking hat. It's hard to turn that off. Um, so that's what we do. I hope that answered your question. You're right, really hard to do the time management, but use a day timer, book your hours, book your days, schedule what you're going to do, know what you want to accomplish that week, aim for it, move forward from there. Spacing things out, try not to feel too overwhelmed. Have a file where you record things like, resources you want to check out or, marketing opportunities that you don't have yet time to follow up on right now. But hey, this looks interesting. Maybe I could apply to be a guest on that podcast or that radio show or that magazine or whatever. And so you keep a record of that, so that you don't have to like, your mind, trying to fill your mind and not forget things. Um, Quick note, put it in a file, and then when you have time in the middle of winter when things are slow or whatever, you can start scrolling through that opportunity file or that resource file and start clicking through and seeing how you might utilize that in one way or another. So try not to feel overwhelmed. It's okay to have a long, long, long list of to-dos in your action plan and, you know, potential opportunities that you can follow up on later. And that's a really good way of looking at it instead of all these shoulds. Now these are just opportunities. When time allows, I can approach these things one at a time and explore that opportunity, see where it might take me. If it doesn't take me where I want it to go, I can let it go and try something else. So it's more of a relaxed sort of mindset of approaching it. And it is like easier on your person. You're not beating up on yourself so much when you look at it that way. I hope that helps. Hopefully that wasn't too long-winded. All right, everyone. Thank you for the ongoing questions. Thank you. I really appreciate it.